World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide. Good day. This is World News in 5 here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. The United States House of Representatives approved billions of dollars worth of foreign aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. The legislation, passed with bipartisan support, involves a total of 91 billion US dollars, of which 67% or $61 billion of the funding will help Kyiv in its ongoing war against Russia. Roughly a third, or about 20 billion US dollars, will be used to replenish weapons and ammunition. On top of the $61 billion, an additional $9 billion in forgivable loans, or ones that do not need to be paid back, will also be given as economic assistance. Meanwhile, $26 billion is set aside for humanitarian aid for civilians in conflict zones in Israel, including Gaza, while the remaining $8 billion is for the Indo-Pacific region. In a statement, U.S. President Joe Biden urged the Senate to quickly send the foreign aid package to his desk so that he can sign it into law, as Ukraine is in urgent need of weapons and equipment.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide. A person was killed while 3 others were injured after an explosion rocked the capital city of Afghanistan, with the Islamic State group or IS claiming responsibility. An improvised explosive device or IED was detonated in the Kot-e-Zangi neighborhood of Kabul, which has been targeted by the IS in the past. In a statement, Kabul police spokesperson Khalid Zadran said the sticky bomb was planted on a minibus. Zadran added that the driver of the vehicle lost his life and 3 other civilians were injured. In its Telegram channel, the IS claimed responsibility for the explosion, saying a minibus carrying Hazaras was blown up as it passed through a Taliban checkpoint. The Islamic State group said the attack led to its destruction and the killing and wounding of around 10 people.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide. And news from the Philippines Foreign Service Post. The permanent mission of the Philippines to the United Nations, in partnership with the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction and Asian African Legal Consultative Organization, held a panel discussion titled 20 Years After the Tsunami, revisiting the International Law Commission's draft articles on the protection of persons in the event of disasters at the United Nations headquarters. 20 years after the Indian Ocean tsunami and its devastating aftermath, which provided the impetus for the International Law Commission, or ILC, to work on the topic on the protection of persons in the event of disasters. The ILC's draft articles aim to create a comprehensive legal framework that balances the sovereignty of affected states with the need for effective and principled international assistance and cooperation in the event of disasters. It provides an approach to addressing the complexities of international disaster response with a focus on human rights, state sovereignty, and international cooperation. Ambassador and Permanent Representative Antonio Lagdameo chaired the working group mandated to examine the draft articles and to consider the ILC's recommendation for the elaboration of a convention on the basis of the draft articles or any other potential course of action. Ambassador Magpayo highlighted how the working group converges on the value of informed discussions and that the panel proceeds in this spirit to continue the dialogue informally during this intersessional period in an open, impartial, transparent, and inclusive manner. The panel discussion was enriched by the reflections offered by distinguished panelists Mr. Arnold Pronto from the Codification Division of the UN Office of Legal Affairs, Ms. Martina Muller from the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, Ms. Anastasia Karayanides from the UN Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, and Ms. Callie Altman from the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. Professor Roy Lee of the Asian African Legal Consultative Organization expressed appreciation for the panelists and mentioned that it was important the substantive offices dealing with the subject matter were invited.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide. And that concludes today's edition of World News in 5. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.